Imagine you are rushed to a hospital with chest pain just to sit there for an hour, and finally you are able to see a doctor and have several tests run. Then the doctor finally comes back to you and tells you that you have a blockage going to your heart, but it will be at least a month before he can schedule your surgery. How would this make you feel, knowing that you may die before you're able to have your surgery? This is what many people in Canada face with their wonderful Medicare system. Yet this is what our politicians of our country would like for us to have. I want to start with some of the history of our government's pursuit for some form of universal health care. The American Association for Labor legislation started this in 1915 and wanted some form of a European model of a health care system for us. Then, in 1930s, President Franklin Roosevelt tried to get a universal health care program for us. And then in the 40s, it was Harry Truman's term. He tried again and was in support of a national health care program. Then President Kennedy fought for a federally funded health care program for the elderly, Medicare, which the American Medical Association fought hard to prevent. Organized labor countered the AMA with a campaign of their own for Medicare. Eventually, President Lyndon Johnson signed the Social Security Amendment of 1965 into law, creating both Medicare and its companion program, Medicaid. This is all according to a September 2005 article from the Facts on File entitled Universal Health Care. President Bill Clinton pledged to overhaul health care during his 1992 campaign. He stated that health care was a right and not a privilege. This was according to another article entitled The Clinton Presidency from Facts on File for February of 2001. Is health care a right and not just a privilege? Is driving a privilege or just a right? How about voting? Is that a right or a privilege? Both of these are privileges that can be taken away. Will the single-payer system, the universal health care ran by the government, force many of our doctors out? Under this program, many doctors will be told what they can charge for their services, just like the Medicare program. And many doctors have opted out of Medicare because of the lack of making money and being able to pay their bills. This was from an article of the single-payer system from Heritage Foundation of April 4th of 2009. The government tells these doctors what they can charge for procedures, and many of them can no longer afford to accept these regulations. Without the chance to make a decent living, many doctors will leave their practices, and many med students will seek other jobs instead of the medical profession. Is the government health care reform the best thing for America? If the Canadian Medicare program that we want to build our universal health care program around is so good, then why did the Canadian Supreme Court rule in 2005 that the citizens of Quebec could purchase private health insurance? And why are so many doctors leaving their practices in Canada? And why are the people who can afford it coming to the U.S. to have surgeries done here that they cannot get or are in long waiting lines in Canada? This was another article of Facts on File from September 2005 entitled Canada's Healthcare System. Are we willing to give up our current doctors to being told that we have to use certain doctors? And what about spending an average of 7.5 hours in a waiting room, or a waiting emergency room, which is the average wait time in Canada right now, or well, it was a few years ago, in 2005. What about our freedom that we have to take for granted every day? At what expense are you willing to give the government more control of your life? Could the greatest nation in the world be on its way to socialism? Are we willing to allow someone sitting behind a desk in a suit to tell us what doctor we can see and when we can have our operation? Our nation does not need to follow Canada's Medicare system and for our future healthcare system model. We do not want to lose more doctors and have longer waiting lines anytime that we need to go and see a doctor. America does not need to continue toward becoming a socialist nation. And we need to take a stand and help each other and be there for each other as we were in 1776. Thank you.